Choose a talent. Choose a talent.
No, you don't have to be good at. Go away, Malfurion. What are you doing? I'm not like. Why does this happen every time I try to do a video? This guy just like walks up and just starts tranquilitying. Just go away. Anyway, so as you guys might or might not have heard yet, Lili has gotten a rework, a full rework. A lot of her talents got shuffled around. A lot of her talents got changed. Her basic abilities had some changes. Cooldowns changed. So there's a lot of different things. So first and foremost, the key differences are she now has Kung Fu Hustle baseline. But however, instead of cooldowns refreshing 100% faster, it's 50% faster. And again, it's baseline, so there is no longer a Kung Fu Hustle level 20 talent. And another difference that is not as large is that Cloud Serpent now heals on baseline as well. I'm not even bothering this guy! What does he want? Go away. But anyway, her fundamentals are still the same. Okay, so her Q is Healing Brute. It still targets an ally who has the lowest health and heals them as long as they are within this targeting circle, and it will have these runes around the person who you are going to heal. Her W is a serpent. You place it on somebody. It has a timer on it. It hits people, and now it offers a little bit of healing on whoever you place it to. And her E is the hamster dance.
Streamer unfamiliar. Who dis?
Do you guys not know who I am because I don't have glasses on? Anyway, Argunosaurus, thank you so much for the reset for 8 months in a row. Woo! Welcome back to the Ham Fam. Sir E is a blind. Prioritizes heroes. It hits the closest to enemies. Blah blah blah. More or less, it's still the same. And her R's are still Jugs and Water Dragon. Okay, so her new level 1 talent, Free Drinks. Her Q cooldown is reduced by 1 second, and its mana cost is refunded if it heals a hero under 50% health. Unfortunately, this requires your teammates to be under 50% health. If it was over 50% health, I think that'd be really strong. But it's under. Okay? Her W is each hero hit by Blinding Wind reduces the cooldown of Cloud Serpent by 3 seconds. So it is currently on a 12-second cooldown. Blinding Wind hits 2 people, and then that means it reduces 3 seconds per person hit, so it'll reduce by 6 total seconds. So that will put this at a 6-second cooldown, which means that you can put a serpent. So your first serpent will be lasting for 2 seconds longer, and then you can put a new serpent. So you can put it on more than one person at once. Wow. And then her last level 1 talent is Eager Adventurer. It increases Fast Feet duration. Fast Feet is her passive, and then it will also increase your mana regen by 150% while Fast Feet is active. So, I think by far the level 1 talent that you should go is Eager Adventurer, no matter what build you're going, because they've removed the other mana management talents, so there's no more globe talents for her. They removed her quest talent, so if you have played Lili before the rework, you do notice that she does go pretty easily, so Eager Adventurer helps a lot with that. So you should probably take this talent. Boom. Level 4. Serpent Sidekick. Serpent Cloud's duration is increased by 0.5 seconds every time it hits a hero. So it currently lasts for 8 seconds, and then every time it hits somebody, the duration is increased. Hindering Winds is Blinding Wind slows hero movement speed by 30% for 2 seconds. So that means that it can slow 2 enemies by 30% for 2 seconds and blind them for 1.5 seconds as well. And then there's Safety Sprint, which is you activate your passive for 2 seconds and increases its movement speed to 30% while active. So you can go zoomies for 2 seconds. Wow.
Choose a talent.
Level 7 talents, the good stuff. Healing Brew heals for an additional healing over 3 seconds, and while Fast Feet is active, this heal amount is increased by 100%. This was an old talent, but they did add on the Fast Feet part, which is pretty cool. I really like the concept of that. Her other talent is Cloud Serpent attacks bounce to hit 2 additional heroes for 50% damage and healing. So this one got changed a little bit. Used to bounce to minions. So now it only bounces to heroes. Therefore, that means that her wave clear is a lot less now. I believe Lightning Serpent did used to be a level 7 talent in the pre-rework, and that was the bouncing talent. So that does mean that if you are playing Lili, you are lacking a lot wave clear comparative to the pre-rework Lili. And then Let's Go is her version of Cleanse, where you activate to heal an allied hero for 307, and you also make them unstoppable, and this cooldown is also affected by Fast Feet. So she has a buffed version of Cleanse. However, there is a problem with this talent. The range of it is very, very short. I believe my math guy, Chaos OS, said that the range of this is 4, and normal cleanse is 10 range, so it is less than half of what normal cleanse range is. So while this has other perks that make it stronger than other cleanses, you know, the activatable heal and the cooldown is affected by Fast Feet, you must keep in mind that the range is very, very short. Super short. So you gotta be careful with this one. Okay, and her level 10 talents, she still has Jugs and Water Dragon. I believe Water Dragon is exactly the same. However, Jugs is now a little bit different. So the way that it works is that base cooldown is 20 seconds. However, during your channel, every time you throw out a heal, it increases the cooldown of Jugs by 2 seconds, and it goes up to 50. So if you use the full duration of Jugs, the cooldown will be 70 seconds. It gets a little confusing, but it makes sense. So what that means is basically if you get CC'd, it's not as bad. For pre-rework Lili, basically, if you tossed out Jugs, you got silenced, you got stunned, you got cocooned, you're just useless. But post-rework, if you get silenced or stunned or whatever, then your Jugs will go on a very short cooldown, 20-something seconds, depending on how many cups you manage to throw out. And that does mean that you can get it up again faster, hopefully, in the middle of a fight. So it is a good change. Her level 13 talents are all Blinding Wind talents, so Gale Force increases the Blinding Wind's duration by 1 second, and her basic attacks against blinded heroes deal more damage. Surging Winds, if Blinding Wind hits 2 heroes, its cooldown is reduced by 3 seconds, and she gains 10% spell power for 10 seconds. And then Mass Vortex is, it increases the numbers hit by Blinding Wind from 2 to 3, and it deals additional damage if all 3 enemies hit our heroes. So I'd probably still take Surging Winds here. Level 16, she has 2 for 1, so that's normal. It's the same as before, so now your Q heals 2 people, but the cooldown is increased by 1 second. Pick Me Up is Healing Brew, healing to heroes is increased if they are under 50% health. So again, this is a under 50% health talent, so I don't think it's that good. And then they have Blessings of Yulan, which her Cloud Serpent heals the bearer for 1.5% of their maximum health each time it attacks. So that sounds pretty interesting. It might work well with people like Cho'Gall and stuff. And level 20, she has the normal Jugs, so Jugs heals 2 allies at once. There's Double Dragon. Mistweaver is new. You activate it to heal nearby allies, and every time you have a basic attack or your Cloud Serpent hits somebody, then it lowers the cooldown of this by 1 second, and it does have a 30-second base cooldown. So you can use this pretty often. It's pretty good. The range is not that bad either. It's pretty large. It's actually a little bit larger than her Q. I think this is 7 range then. And then her other level 20 talent is Shake It Off, so it's another trait talent, and you gain 8 armor per second while Fast Feet is active up to 30 armor. So, so anyway, there's a lot of changes that you can tell. A lot of things got shuffled around. Some old talents have had some things added to it, which is good. This is the build that I think you should be using. I don't think that Serpent build is good. We'll get into that in a little bit when we start talking the math numbers, because everyone loves math here. We're all mathematicians. So this is the build that I would advise. I think that even if you have a different idea for builds, still do take Eager Adventure at level 1. I think it's by far the best talent. But this is the build that I would go. So Eager Adventure, hindering winds. Cleanse if you need cleanse. If you don't need cleanse, I would go the good stuff. 10 is jugs. Well, I mean, it depends on if you need damage. If you need damage, you could go Water Dragon. Jugs is pretty good too, especially now that if you do get cancelled, the cooldown is a lot shorter. 13, I would go Surging Winds because the 10% spell power does work for both healing and for damage. 16, I would go 2 for 1. And then at 20, depending on your playstyle, you may want to go Shake It Off. But if you're not going Shake It Off, I would go Mistweaver. So this is the build that I like.
I love exploring.
Now, we're going to talk about math. Everyone loves math, okay? The reason why I'm going to talk about math is that I think that Lili's rework is good conceptually. However, I think the numbers are too low and therefore her rework is a nerf instead of a buff. However, I think that if they do tweak her numbers a little bit of buff, it will be strong. So the reasoning behind this is while Kung Fu Hustle being baseline sounds really, really, really good, it's actually kind of bad because they compensated her power by increasing her cooldowns too much. So I'm going to pull up the patch notes really quick because we're patch notes people. Patch notes, where are you? Oh, misclicked. Where is the patch notes? Boom, patch notes. So there has been some changes in the patch notes. Healing Brew, her Q cooldown is increased from 3 to 4 seconds. Her Cloud Serpent cooldown is increased from 10 to 12 seconds. And her Blinding Wind cooldown is increased from 9 to 12 seconds. So there are quite a few significant cooldown increases in every single one of her basic abilities to compensate for the fact that she has a 50% Kung Fu Hustle on baseline. So, our good friend Chaos OS, also known as Math of the Storm, he did the math. If you have 100% uptime with Fast Feet, your cooldown for Q will be 2.67 seconds relative to the 3 seconds pre-rework. Your W cooldown will be 8 seconds relative to the 10 seconds before. And then your E cooldown will be 8 seconds relative to the 9 seconds before. So more or less, you need to obtain almost 100% fast feet uptime to be slightly better than pre-rework. So that just means that your level 20 is ass, because you don't get Kung Fu Hustle level 20. Remember back in the day when you played Lili, you're like, oh man, I just gotta get level 20, I get Kung Fu Hustle, I kill everybody. No longer. You just gotta get your Kung Fu Hustle. I think someone said it was about a 75% uptime to equalize to pre-rework. So that's problematic. So that's why I think that's one of the reasons why I think her rework is not good. But if the numbers are a little bit fixed, then it'll be better. Another thing is it sounds like Serpent talents are really good. However, there is a problem with Serpent talents. Again, in the patch notes, you can see that attack speed on Cloud Serpent has been reduced from 0.75 to 1 attack per second. So a previous Cloud Serpent attacked 1.33 times compared to the 1. So that means that while it does have a little bit of healing baked in, it's worse now. And they tried to compensate that with the damage increase. However, I do think that the healing added is kind of, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't feel that good. So I don't like the Wind Serpent talents at all. Her rework also makes things difficult because previously when you picked Lili, it was for very specific niche reasons, such as you need a cleanse. She still has a cleanse, however you have to again remember that her cleanse range went from 10 to 4, so it was less than half of what it is before. Her cleanse range is tiny, so you almost have to be hugging your best friend that's about to get CC'd if you want to cleanse them. And on top of that, another reason why people used Lili before was that she is a like a blind bot, more or less. However, she lost the talents. I think it was a level 4 talent that let you blind 4 people. And then she also gains less spell power now because Blinding Wind only hits 2 people and you only gain 10% spell power instead of the 20% before. Because you would have gotten 5% spell power per hero hit before, and you could have hit 4 heroes, so that's 20%. So her Surging Wind is also weaker. And another reason why people really like Lili before was that she was also a decent bruiser to solo lane, but her solo lane capabilities have been hit a little bit with the fact that you can't get the level 7 talent to wave clear a little bit better, because now the Cloud Serpent only bounces to heroes. So those are some big Lili changes that I feel might have erased some of her possible uses before. I do think that Eager Adventurer is super duper great though. Is that all the math that I have? Do I have any other math set up that we need to talk about that's very important? I think that's all the mathing we need to do today. So again, I personally think the concept of the rework is great. There's a lot of great ideas behind her new talents, but that she needs some number tweaks to be good, to be really good. And I feel like a lot of people just think that she's really good in general, so I feel bad. Do you guys have any questions about the Lili rework that I might be able to answer? So again, with Kung Fu Hustle being baked into her fast feet, you need about 75% fast feet uptime to have your cooldowns equalized to pre-rework. And on top of that, because Kung Fu Hustle is baked in, it's no longer a level 20 talent, so you don't get a super giant OP level 20. So that's why I think, ooh, I don't like that. So I feel like they nerfed her a lot because they're afraid of the Kung Fu Hustle. And I don't really understand why they nerfed the attack speed on Serpent too. That also made me sad. Because I do think that the Serpent talents sound really good, but then with the little attack speed nerfed, it's actually not that strong. They're afraid of the panda. She's scary. She can be really scary. Miss Weaver is good. Yeah, but this is generally the talent build that I would go. I think they could tweak some numbers to make her a bit better. Yeah, that's my idea behind it. I think the cleanse range should be increased by at least 1, because 4 range is super tiny. I don't understand. Oh yeah, there was also a nerf to her healing brew range. If you guys didn't see in the patch notes, where's my patch notes? I'm always just gonna pull up the patch notes and be like, read these. It's very important. Okay, let me go find this for you. So in the patch notes, her healing brew range got reduced from 7 to 6 as well. So that's also pretty bad. The cooldown on cleanse is so low, I think it's okay. The thing is that a lot of talents that she lost also revolves around being tankier as well. So the problem with the cleanse range being so short is that you might die for it. Does that make sense? So it's a trade-off that I don't know. It's definitely a trade. I don't know if it's a good trade, because you do get healing baked into it, and you do get fast feet working on it, but the range is so short that it's a difficult trade-off. I think after rework, Cloud Serpent build is better. You might have just come into stream, but I already talked about why Cloud Serpent is not as good anymore, mainly because the cooldown has been increased by, I think it was 3 seconds. The baseline cooldown got increased by 3 seconds, and on top of that, it got its attack speed nerfed, which is huge. It's a significant nerf to Cloud Serpent because of the attack speed change. Is Jugs the only viable ult still? I don't think it's the only viable ult. I just think that because you should not be picking Lili solo healer still. So I would still probably take, like, either one of the ults is completely dependent on your team, in my opinion. I wouldn't pick her solo heal because she's still, while I guess she technically has targeted heals now with her W healing a little bit, tickles here and there, it's not enough to be considered as a solo healer. Sorry, someone asked something. Let me go see. Hey, where did that question go? I can't see it. Are my eyes not working? How does manually activated fast feet interact with healing burst? Wait, what do you mean interact with healing? Which one's healing burst? Is that a talent?
Hey, a flower.
Oh, you mean, did you mean you thought that because it's activatable that it makes you heal, let your cooldowns go faster? Because I think that just means that it does have the default 50% cooldown refresh, but it doesn't go, like, it doesn't buff the cooldown part. It only buffs the movement speed for the 2 seconds that it's active. So fast feet, yeah, so what I'm saying is that I'm pretty sure that safety sprint, see, when you read it, it says activate to gain fast feet for 2 seconds and increase this movement speed bonus to 30% while active. So it does not affect the cooldown portion of fast feet at all. Doesn't her baseline Kung Fu, yes, so her baseline Kung Fu Hustle now only works on basic abilities and not on her ult. And you do need to maintain about a 75% uptime on fast feet in order to equalize her cooldowns to pre-rework. So it's a little bit questionable. I don't understand what you mean for the healing boost, because fast feet does not increase your healing. Or, I mean, sorry, safety sprint does not increase your healing. It just makes you move faster. You should be trying to keep uptime on fast feet regardless of safety sprint or not. Because ideally you do want to have 100% uptime on fast feet. I think that safety sprint would be really good if it had a self cleanse though, because she used to have a talent that acted like a self cleanse if you got CC'd. Because with her current talents, with cleanse being a short range, Q's range being lowered a little bit, and then Mistweaver as well, you do, or even Shake It Off, you do want to play a little bit more aggressively with your positioning, and you want to keep your fast feet up. So it'd be nice if they had a little bit more tanky talents for her earlier than level 20. You're mainly taking fast feet because you have Alex on your team who has better slows. Yeah, I don't think the slow is that significant, but I don't think that her level 4 talents are great either. I don't know. Again, like, I really like the concept behind the rework. I just don't like the numbers. So hopefully the numbers do get buffs. Because as is, I do think that the rework Lili is a little bit of a nerf. But the rework in general, like the concept, I really like the new talents. I really like how they changed some of the talents. I like her personal cleanse. I don't like the range of personal cleanse, but I do like it. It's good though. But yeah. I think I'm done talking about Lili. Let's go play some video games. I'm like, how do I exit this? Okay, so let's go do some